All right, what's going on, world? It's your boy at Big Game James _36. With my guy Struggle Made 105. This is Inside Drills, where we go a little harder. This ain't 7-on-7. This ain't pretty. This ain't for this. This is where the real ball and real life gets talked about. We cover topics, we cover issues, we go over things that not everybody is willing to do or even has the courage to go into. And what we're about to do, we're about to try to step into this space that don't none of us really know anything about. We want to get educated. Web 3.0, NFTs, MFTKs, whatever the letters that they got here going on. All I see is apes and monkeys that look kind of cool. I hate apes and monkeys normally, but this stuff looks cool and it looks like there's money to be made in it. So without further ado, I'm gonna let Freddie introduce our guest, and then we're gonna try to learn something today and learn how it benefits us in the regular world, and maybe even how it'll benefit athletes. So go ahead, Freddie, let us know what we got.
Today we have on the CEO of NFT League, Mr. Tillman Holloway. He played, as you can see, he played at the University of Texas, Longhorns. Shout out to my guy, Coach Marion, just signed over with Texas. We'll have him on here soon. But yeah, he's the Longhorn. And I'm excited to talk about this, man. An expert in the game. I know a lot of people have been asking me, what's an NFT? And why not have a person that's an expert in the game come on and talk about this and explain exactly what an NFT is, how you can make a business out of this thing. I know a lot of people are trying to turn this thing into a business. The metaverse, what is it? Just a lot of different questions people have been asking us, and you're the perfect person to get those questions answered for us.
Well, thanks. I'm glad to be here today. I love talking about NFTs, so it sounds like I'm in the right spot.
No doubt, no doubt. I know, just to start this thing off, man, for anybody that's new to the game, what's the NFT? Some don't know. What is it?
Yeah, it stands for non-fungible token. And that acronym in simplistic terms means this. If I own a Bitcoin and you own a Bitcoin, there's no serial number that tells that one Bitcoin from another one. They're all the exact same. Okay. So that's a fungible token. They can be swapped back and forth very easily because they're all the exact same. A non-fungible token means that every single one is unique. And so if every single NFT is unique, they all have their own unique characteristics and value proposition. And so it's no different than a piece of art, right? You can't say all of Picasso's paintings are worth the same amount of money. They're not. They're all very unique. They all have very unique characteristics to it. And so an NFT is nothing more than a digital way to authenticate ownership. So it's like having a car title that no one can argue with, and everyone is validating that you own that car. And so anything that's right now that's certifiable, that is scarce, that has value attached to that scarcity, an NFT is a great way to put a unique identifier, to put a serial number on it, so that everyone in the world knows that you own it. And then you can participate with that serial number by putting it up for sale and or people making you offers to buy it. So it's nothing more than a digital certificate of authenticity. It's that's the simplest way to think about it.
Okay. And I see a lot of people just over the past few weeks, they've seen how hot this thing has gotten, and they just want to jump in. What would be your advice to these people that just think they can come in and make a quick buck, but they're not really doing their research? And I know you see it all the time.
Yeah. So I'm not a big believer in the current market and where we are right now. Just like any really disruptive and groundbreaking technology, there's a learning curve of what it's best used for. And right now we're seeing it being used as a speculative money grab, right? It's like, what's the hottest project? How can I get in before everyone else? That forces you to always have a mindset of selling it to the next person and it's a greater fool theory. Someone's being a greater fool than you because they're buying it for more than you paid for it, right? I don't think that's a sustainable way for the market to really flourish. What we're starting to see is utility come into the market. So if I have an NFT that's a digital certificate of ownership, and that came with access to private meetings, access to gatherings of the community, access to exclusive merch lines, access to restaurants, and all sorts of things are starting to come out as it relates to NFTs being that pass, that access token. And so if you look at a ticket to get into, for example, a concert, that's nothing more than a physical NFT. So if you took a digital NFT and took that same concept of that ticket allows you access into that physical location and or into that digital location, then you can start to see that, you know, NFTs are really access passes, and they're a great mechanism. You mentioned earlier about Web3. The way that I describe Web3 to people is simply this: in the future, and we already have it on our platform, our access pass, our username and password has now been replaced with wallet authenticated ownership. So the websites of the future aren't going to say, like Netflix, for example, you're not going to go in and you're not going to enter a username and password, because we all know that everybody shares their Netflix username and password, right? So that's a hole in the bucket that technology is going to patch and solve. And so in the future, when you buy subscriptions, when you buy access to things digitally, you're going to be buying an NFT. Why? Well, because an NFT, once you own it and it's sitting in your wallet, you're not going to share your NFT with your friend because they're going to keep it and it's worth money. So it's like loaning them a bunch of money. And if they don't give it back to you, you can't then access it, right? So it's a real easy way to patch a hole in the bucket. And so everything in Web3 is going to be connect wallet versus log in through a username and password. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
So it's bigger than like so it's bigger than pictures. And
it's bigger than pictures.
These things that we're seeing. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So all right, so that makes sense. Like, so we're just in the infancy stage of
Correct.
it, and I like what you how you described it. The bigger fool theory. You know, that makes sense, but you also explain why it's still a tangible thing, which kind of stinks for my family. I think everybody poaches my Netflix account, so like, but I still
exactly
Disney
right.
Plus. I still Disney Plus for my sister, so that means I'm gonna have to pony up.
Well, that's exactly right. Yeah, but here's the great part. So it's a give and a take. And here's what's awesome. So I don't know if you ever go on iTunes or any of these platforms and buy an episode of something. But imagine going onto those platforms and buying a movie, right? If I go into Amazon Prime and I want to watch a movie and I pay $8.99 for the movie to watch it, right? Imagine once I'm done watching it, being able to resell it to the next person who wants to buy it. That's what an NFT allows you. So now if you buy, like, for example, this show that we're on right now, I assume we're going to put it on YouTube, right? And YouTube, anyone and everybody can go, if they have a YouTube account, and they can watch this content. In the future, I believe that content will go through the content creators distribution channel, which is now you could create a website, right, for this Sports Den Live. And that website would be a Connect Wallet website, a Web3 integrated website. And whoever bought the Sports Den Live's NFT would then be able to come in and watch the podcast. And you could still push out free content on YouTube and all the other channels, but you would have an exclusive section for your best fans, for your fan base that are supporting you. Like, it's no different than a Patreon channel, right? You have certain people that really want to see your content and really are behind the project, and an NFT is a much better way of supporting a channel than doing a Patreon type of a structure. So every content in and the way it's distributed is unique. but NFTs can add a layer to all of those distribution methods and tactics without any risk of disrupting those original layers of revenue. So there's nothing that keeps you from continuing to publish your content in the exact same way that you're doing it now, but you should add this diversification tool in the form of an NFT, either in an access and or in an individual, a piece of art or some sort of access to you as a person, like a meet and greet. But all sorts of value propositions will be discovered, in the form of an NFT.
I know last week there was a lot of panic throughout the world when the crypto market crashed. So, and you're big on Bitcoin. Tell people why they shouldn't panic, and why is Bitcoin still the best crypto to utilize?
Well, I think everything that you do should be about a balanced, diversified approach, right? Putting all your eggs in one basket, yeah, you can win, but most often you don't. And so I believe that Bitcoin can play a great role in any portfolio. So crashes only hurt when you have too many eggs in one basket, and crashes only hurt when you're over leveraged. And unfortunately, in this space, it's too easy to become over leveraged. So there's going to be a tremendous amount of development and maturity that gets put into the market over the next few years as it relates to regulation, and it's a necessary part of growing a market. And so part of that regulation is, how leveraged do you allow your consumers to get on speculative investments? And so when you go to some of these, exchanges, people are getting 100-to-1 leverage, right? So what happens is that a lot of people that have a little bit to play with, they bet all of it with a lot of leverage to see if they can be right. Okay. And if they are right, they make a ton of money, and they keep doing that. And eventually, though, you're wrong. And when you're wrong, you lose it all, because you have what they call a margin call, where you've bet on a multiple. So if I have 10% up as a collateral against 100% position, and the stock price, or the Bitcoin price in this case, drops by 10%, I have no equity in that trade. And so the exchange liquidates the trade. That's the margin call. And so what happens in this space specifically is, when we hit key barriers and key thresholds where the psychology in the market is, we're going to 100K, for example. That's what it was about, a month and a half ago. Everybody, when it was sitting at 65,000, thought, oh, it's going to 100K. And so everybody started leveraging and getting in positions and betting the ranch, so to speak. And it's like picking candy from a baby for the whales, because all they have to do is drop it by 10%, and all that liquidity gets lost by the people who bet. And so when you go into leveraged positions, and too many people go into leveraged positions, you're going to see market corrections, because it's like I said, taking candy from a baby for a market maker. All they have to do is push the price a little bit, and everybody gets liquidated. So it's just a natural part of progression of market, and the maturity of the market getting to a point where market makers, number one, are more closely watched and regulated, but number two, that there is enough liquidity in the market where it takes a lot more to move it.
So why can't you just use USD or other, like credit cards or other forms of payment to get NFTs and get into this? Why does it have to be cryptocurrency, or what's the thought behind that?
It has to be cryptocurrency because of one simple thing. In the real world, non-crypto specific, non-Bitcoin, payment and settlement are two different occurrences, two different events. So when I pay with a debit card, right, it goes into a pending status in my bank account. and it sits in the pending status for 24 hours, and then it clears the next day. If I pay with a credit card, they send me a statement 30 days later, and I settle with them 30 days from then. If I write a check, it's a 7-day clearing process. Like, all of the payment methods, settlement and payment don't happen simultaneously, except for cash, right? If you're buying something off of me on eBay and we meet up, I can hand you cash, you can hand me the shovel, and we make the trade, right? And that settlement and payment happened when I handed you the cash. Well, Bitcoin allows electronic settlement and payment to happen simultaneously. So if I try to buy an NFT with a credit card, that NFT is, once it's delivered to me on the blockchain into my wallet, it's mine. You can't get it back. So what keeps me from paying with a credit card, getting the NFT in my wallet, calling the credit card company and saying I didn't do this, it's fraudulent, and they pay the platform back, or whoever issued the credit card, but at the same time the NFT is still mine. There's no way to claw it back. Does that make sense? So you can't have non-instantaneous payment methods merge with instantaneous delivery methods, because there's a risk in transfer.
Makes sense. I know with us being a sports platform, I know everybody just at the collegiate level, this NIL thing, athletes are finally able to get an opportunity to get paid for their name, image, and likeness. Do you see NFTs making a huge splash at the collegiate level for these athletes now?
I think it's going to make a huge splash at the high school and junior high level. I think it allows someone like a LeBron James, for example. Like, I played football at UT, like y'all said, and I know that at the collegiate level, there's a lot of abuse in payments and how athletes get paid, and people stealing money from the athletes when they shouldn't. I know personally a handful of players that are very close friends of mine where agents stole a lot of money from them, for example. NIL and blockchain combined, Bitcoin combined with that, allows athletes to capitalize on their own rookie card as early as they want. And so I look at my own career. I played at a smaller high school. I played there because it was a Christian high school, and we won the state championship. It was a 3A school. And it was a big deal for the school, right? We had never won a state championship before. It was the first time. And there were a few friends on my team that went on to play college, and I went on to play college. But if I had issued an NFT when I was in high school, and I just used it like a car wash fundraiser, where I went around all of the community and said, "Hey, listen, I want to make it to the pros, and I would love for you to help me get there by buying into my NFT project. And I'm going to give you an NFT of myself. So it's going to be the rookie card." Well, that allows me to fundraise at a really organic, natural grassroots level. But it also allows the people who have that NFT to have immutable record of ownership all the way back before anyone else knew who those people were. So I think about, like, guys like LeBron James. How valuable would an NFT be if LeBron had issued it his freshman year in high school? And he issued it to raise funds to go to a basketball camp that summer, right? Or to hire a private coach. I don't know what he was doing back then, but to shoulder the expense of becoming who he is now, right? And if he was able to issue that, and let's just say he was able to, because of the community and the people who knew basketball and saw him playing were like, this is going to be worth a bloody fortune one day. And he could set the price at $20 a piece, right? Well, if you came into my NFT wallet and you saw that I owned that, and I bought it from LeBron in his high school gym for $25 or whatever the price was, you'd be going, tell me the story, Tillman. Like, how did you, what? You knew about that kid before anyone else? Like, well, how did you know about him? And it's going to allow an immutable record to exist of talent scouts picking talent, right? If I'm someone who's a recruiter, and I can go buy NFTs before anybody else knows who these people are, I've got a record of my abilities that no one can argue with. And so I also have value in the fact that LeBron James's rookie card now would be worth a bloody fortune. And the secondary churn on that would be paying LeBron more than he's making in basketball. That's the honest truth. And so if you just take that across, not everybody's LeBron James, right? Not everybody is, Peyton Manning, but everybody has had effort given to them for them to make it to where they are now. And this is a way to give mutual effort back. So instead of it being like a crowd-funded effort where you get a pat on the back and say, thanks for the support, you're getting a piece of them that carries forward digitally that has unlimited upside and potential based upon where that career goes. So that it's a really, NIL is going to look radically different with Bitcoin involved in the next 5 years. I can assure you of that.
So wait a minute. So with an NFT, the original person who made it, they still get paid even on the resale?
So that's what's so great about it. You get reoccurring royalties attached to every sale, not just the first sale. So if you issue your rookie card, LeBron James, for example, let's just say he issued his rookie card for $10 his freshman year in high school. And let's just say his junior year in high school, when everyone in the world knew who LeBron James was and that he was coming out early and that he was the king, if you had that card, if you had that NFT, it would be worth a lot more. So let's just say hypothetically it went to $100, which I think it would go a lot higher than that. But let's just say $100. LeBron would have made $10 on the first sale when he sold it for $10, right? But when it was $100 and Tillman Holloway sold it to anyone on the internet, LeBron would get another $10 because he'd be getting 10% of every sale at the price of the current sale. So fast forward to now, and let's say those rookie cards are selling for 10 grand a piece. That means every time someone buys and sells it, LeBron would be getting $1,000 off of that transaction, $1,000 going straight into his wallet forever and ever, as long as they were being traded. And so there's much more upside potential, for the future as it relates to where that price can go. And so why not start it as early as you can? Because it's meaningful now and it could be infinitely meaningful then, right? It could be the very thing. I won't name names, but I have friends that have had extraordinary careers, extraordinary, like as good as they get. And I think the universities got a better deal than they did, right? I feel like I'll use a guy that I looked up to when I was coming out of high school, Eric Crouch, right, for Nebraska. Eric Crouch was on the tip of everybody's tongue. He was like they won the national championship. He was an unbelievable powerhouse on the field. He was equivalent at that time to like Vince Young was when I was playing with him. Electric, right? He won him a national championship. He goes to the NFL and they want him to play a different position. He doesn't really want to play a different position. His NFL career wasn't as bright as his college career. And so therefore the money that he made in his pro career, in my opinion, doesn't match the impact that he made on football. That would be my position or my stance. Well, if NFTs were a part of it, it would right those wrongs. It's a royalty that if you knew who Eric Crouch was and you were a fan of his and you knew what he did for Nebraska, there would be a Nebraska army out there that would be buying them up left and right and collecting them. And you get to reap the benefits of that direct support from the fans. No different than a musician, right? Adele, I think, has been in the headlines recently for outrageous ticket prices in Vegas, like $2,800 minimum to get in the auditorium to see her. Well, if you saw behind the scenes of that breakdown, she isn't getting anything additional to what she gets any other time, right? All that's going to the scalpers, all that's going to the middlemen, the speculators, the bots that have been built to go online and buy every ticket that they can the second they come on sale. Like, that industry is making the market on those ticket prices, and the artist isn't getting fair representation in that. And I've seen videos and articles that point to the fact that Adele's upset about it. She's going, this has got to change because my real fans don't get to come see me, is the point, right? And so blockchain would change that. Bitcoin would change that. Bitcoin would allow Adele, number one, to uh, reap the benefits of the price increase. She would be a partner in that effort. And number two, she could issue more tickets to the next concert for all of her fan base at a fixed price and directly sell it to them in a digital way that guarantees that they go to the right person, right? So you could take your entire fan base and you could issue free NFTs to them if you wanted to. Free admission into the concert. You can do anything you want. So it puts you back in total control of over the ticket distribution, puts you back in total control of the monetization of the ticket distribution. It's really it changes everything.
Well, man, I know we kind of started everything backwards with the show because everybody from the jump wanted to know what an NFT was. But we got to know just a little bit about your story at Texas and how did you end up getting into this world? I need to know.
I love steep learning curves. I like to learn new things. And one thing, when I got out of school, I was a business major, finance major, and I looked at traditional finance, looked at a lot of like big firms, and thought about going and being an investment advisor of some kind. Um, I when I first found Bitcoin, I realized that it was the democratization of banking services. And what do I mean by that? I mean that there's a lot of predatory practices that we don't talk about as Americans, and we act like they don't exist. And I don't think that it's comfortable to talk about. But let me give you a good example. In 2008, when the market crashed, the housing market, I had a business that went under. It was a construction business, and it was very leveraged. We had lots of equipment and everything, and so my credit got hurt in that event. And I realized what it was like to try to get loans when you didn't have great credit. And that discovery led me to wanting to understand what it looked like from top to bottom from financial services part, in America. And what I found is like predatory lending, payday loan services, cash to or check to cash services, they're a joke. They are an absolute joke. They are so predatory compared to a normal bank that it's criminal, in my opinion. I don't think I know it's legislated. The rates are legislated based upon, quote, the risk that everyone's taking, but it doesn't make sense that there's not a way to prove that your credit worthy I'm back.
Okay. I
Can you hear
thought,
me?
yeah, I thought it was my connection. I was doing behind the scene messaging just to make sure it wasn't me.
Yeah, no, I think
Yeah,
it
I
was
thought
me.
I lost you too. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember where. Tell me where I cut off if you don't mind. I
You're
kept
talking about
talking.
predatory
The
lending
banks.
and being
Yeah,
legislated, and
yeah. So if you look at what Bitcoin does, Bitcoin, no one owns Bitcoin that didn't buy it, that didn't mine it, produce it, or didn't steal it. And that can't be said for any other financial asset or means of transfer on the earth, including the US dollar. Think about it. It's a flow, it's a trickle down. It's not as wide and deep. If I want to mine Bitcoin, nothing stops me from doing it. I can buy a miner and I can plug it into my wall and it produces Bitcoin. And I'm hosting the transactions that are needed. I'm contributing to the network. I'm productive in the society of Bitcoin. And I get paid for that productivity. And it doesn't matter what neighborhood I live in, doesn't matter what companies I own, doesn't matter what my net worth is, doesn't matter anything. And so what it does is it allows everyone who wants to participate at a level playing field in a financial in a financial environment, it allows them access to do that. All you need is a cell phone or a miner, and you are a part of the Bitcoin community. Like, that's all that it takes. And so if you think about on a global perspective, how many people are unbanked or underbanked? How many people can't get a loan? How many people have to go directly from getting their paycheck to a check cashing place that takes out, $50 of their paycheck to cash their check? Like, how many people would benefit by having access to this level playing field? And so that's what got me into Bitcoin. What kept me in Bitcoin is that you can build anything on top of it that continues to democratize access. So now, instead of just democratizing banking services, Bitcoin is democratizing the go-to-market distribution services that select few. So now you, as a content creator, can take your content directly to market without anybody telling you to change it or how much money they're going to take out of the back end or how much upside they're going to take off the table in order to fund it, right? It can be a community funded effort in the form of a blockchain or in the form of an NFT, and you send the NFT as a membership validator to the people who crowdfund your initiative. And now you've got buy-in, and they've got ownership of the NFT, and everybody's happy. And there's an exclusive community that is trustless. And so that's when you mentioned earlier about the Bored Ape Yacht Club and some of these crazy NFTs that are going for crazy amounts of money. You got to remember that they're not, the NFTs aren't selling for millions of dollars. The community is selling for millions of dollars. So if you are in a community that you think you're a lower peg on the totem pole than everybody else, you're not selling. You want to stay in there, right? If I am in a private, you guys are familiar with Discord, right?
Yep.
So every NFT has a Discord channel. So let's say I'm in a Discord channel and, Mark Cuban pops in and starts talking to everybody, or Gary V pops in and starts talking to everybody, or there's one that I'm in right now where a bunch of NBA players pop in and talk to everybody. Well, I'm not an NBA star. It makes you feel special that you're in the room with NBA stars talking about all sorts of stuff under the sun. It makes you feel like you're friends with these people, right? And so what value do you put on having access to those people? That's how much you're willing to pay for a Bored Ape. And if there's a person that's made hundreds of millions of dollars that wants to be in the room with those celebrities, they're going to pay whatever they want to pay. It's like buying a new car for them. They don't care. I mean, what's a $250,000 when you're buying $1 million Bugatti pluses every, I watched an interview with 50 Cent on one of the talk shows, like a late night talk show. And he was like talking about what he bought himself for Christmas. I think he bought himself like 4 cars, like, and 2 of them were Bugattis. So it's like, if you want the social status of a Bugatti on the internet, you buy a Bored Ape. That's what you do, right? And so you're buying social status, you're buying access. So there's a real interesting transition that's taking place right now that natural progression would tell you would take place. Now corporations are valuing that access, right? Now it's not just rich people that want to be in the cool club. Now it's companies that say to themselves, if we spend $9 million on this NFT, we're going to get a lot of publicity out of it. And we're going to have access to all these people that can come and be brand ambassadors. It opens up a lot of business channels for these people to come and make a spectacle and a spotlight of the purchase price. So that's what we're seeing in the market right now. It's a gathering of community that cannot be faked. And so the next progression you're going to see is the NFTs will be digitally certifying authentic gear like merch. So if I have a sweatshirt that's a Bored Ape Yacht sweatshirt, I can go to any printer in America and print it for $20, right? Or $15. If I have a Bored Ape Yacht Club sweatshirt that has a NFT correlated QR code printed on it, I can't fake that anymore. Yeah, I can print the QR code, but anybody that uses the QR code, it's not going to link to your NFT that you own. And you're not going to be able to show everybody right there that this sweatshirt came with this NFT. And so there only is going to be one of those sweatshirts or one line of that sweatshirt that comes with that NFT. And I see a future where merchandise, once you buy the NFT, you get it for life. Like, hey, my hoodie wore out, send me a new one. Bam, it's in the mail the next day because that's my hoodie. That's my NFT. That's my Bored Ape. No one else can do that. And, you know, that's part of this whole, you know, authentication piece is like anything you want to make authentic, put an NFT on it. It makes it authentic immediately.
So basically, we go into like when I came. Now it's cool because kids can wear whatever. Like it's all kinds of new gear. But like I remember flea market Nike shirts. In flea market, like it said Nike on it, but when you looked at the tag, people was checking your tag to see if you had Fruit of Balloon.
Well, and that's why everybody keeps their tags on there. Yeah, I mean that's yeah.
Right. So basically, you're saying like if somebody comes in, I can go check let me get that QR. Let me see that QR code. Man, you got Fruit of Balloon, boy Yacht Club. That ain't no real.
Exactly.
So that's basically okay.
That's basically what it is. And there's even a company I've seen, and this is a really novel idea. I don't like it personally because it's going to cause a lot of thefts to happen. And I just, you know, it's very ego driven. But there's a company that's making digital tags, right? Like you keep you keep it on your pair of sneakers and you wear it around, and it pings the websites that sell those sneakers on the secondary market, and it puts a digital display of the current market price of that shoe. And so like you're swagging out, you know, a really expensive pair of shoes, and people can see how expensive they are now in the form of a digital price tag, and it goes up and down based upon what the market, you know, conditions are. It's crazy. We're living in a really crazy technological world, and everything is going to get digitally authenticated at some point. I think in the future they're going to interweave into fabric QR code. No, it's not QR code. Excuse me. We interweave into fabric RFID chip threads that allow RFID chips to basically be implanted in the fabric itself to where clothes can't be knocked off. Purses can't be knocked off because you'd have to destroy the purse to knock it off. Like you'd have to take the thread or the fabric out of the actual product.
And I just want to, I know we don't want to keep you too long, but before we get off here, I just want you to talk about your company, NFT Khalid, a little bit, maybe some upcoming projects you have, some of the success you've had over the years, some of the people that you worked with, just some of those things, and educate the audience a little bit.
Yeah, sure. We're a full service shop. We do things top to bottom from campaign inception to delivery. We're really focused on helping celebrities and people that have brands take their brands to market directly through NFTs and helping them navigate the noise and congestion in the market, and it not be a money grab type of a campaign, but a utility based campaign, something that provides value to people, like watching a podcast, watching a full feature link film, watching episodes, listening to exclusive music, having exclusive fireside chats in a community. We're focused on delivering content is the bottom line. And we've built technology that allow us to do it at such a better rate than the current technology. Ethereum based blockchains, Ethereum based NFTs, it costs about $150 to mint an NFT, and it costs about $30 to transfer it from one person to the next person. So what does that mean? It means that I can't very well sell a $1 or a $20 or even a $50 or $100 NFT, because $30 of it is going to be fees. So in transfer. So what it does is let's say I buy a $20 NFT, and let's say it goes up to $50 in price. Well, if I sell it for 50, it's a break even for me, right? Whereas on our platform, our fees are less than 3 cents, and there's no carbon footprint, no carbon emissions. It's a completely green platform, and it's built on Bitcoin. So you have the best community behind the effort, and you've got all the exposure you could ever want.
I love it. I think, man, I'm gonna send this out to so many people that have just been blowing me up with questions about what the hell is the NFT, why they talking about them so much.
Right.
Sending this out all day. I definitely recommend everybody that's watching this to share it with your friends. I think, like you said earlier, we got a lot of sports followers, so everybody's trying to figure out this NIL space. NFT, like you said, is going to make a huge splash in this world. Where junior college kids, high school kids, we've seen it now. From Ohio State that left early. He left his junior season, didn't even play his senior season, and went to Ohio State. So it's gonna play a big role, I believe, and we see things now, and then a year from now it's going to be at a whole different level. Things may change. Who knows what we're going to see next year? But I'm excited about it.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun journey, to say the least. It puts a lot of power back in the hands of the content creators and back in the hands of the athletes and the celebrities. So it's a more intimate way to treat your fan base, right? It's a two-way street now. That a lot of people don't know what an airdrop is, and I'll leave you with this. But one of the neat things about having this two-way street, or having your fan base own an NFT, is that you have a wallet address for them now, and you can send content to that wallet address for free anytime you want. And so I can wake up one day as a celebrity, and instead of putting my content on a Instagram or a Facebook or whatever the platform is, I can put my content in the form of an NFT directly to my fan base, and it's of value to them. They can actually sell that now. So when they wake up one morning, then you put on your Twitter account, I dropped my fan base an NFT this morning, go check it out. And then all your fan base goes to their wallet and sees that they've got this NFT, and sees that people are buying the NFT from people who got it. That's never been done. I mean, that in and of itself is just a massive game changer as it relates to how you get information to your followers.
So basically, shock drops.
Yep, exactly. Yep.
Like, that's crazy. It's a like, just even thinking of, like, it's a lot that you could do.
Everything you can literally do anything.
Trying to do, but the difference is the value of what you produce can go up, and you can always track the monetization. So if we sold, perfect example, we sold 10. Well, you just told. Well, yeah, we use your platform or a similar platform that where the rates are cheaper. You could create a $10 card or $10 NFT, and next year that $10 NFT could be worth $100 based upon the content that you consistently are able to get with that NFT. So like if you can say you limit it to 1,000 to only 1,000 of that specific channel, if it increases, the only way like you want the Inside Drills podcast, the only way you can get it is by having this NFT and no more created. More people are going to want to buy it. I think that's crazy when you can think about what the athlete can do.
It's unbelievable.
One of the things that me and Freddie are big proponents of are, it's not a 3 to 5 year deal when you pick your college. It's a 40-year deal. So like I think I've told him there's probably not a fullback in Florida State history who's eaten more off of one touchdown than myself against the University of Miami, one of our biggest rival, breaking a streak. Like I'm just thinking, like if I could have done a shock drop that day, back in 2005, like what I could be like. Hell, the internet's not even like hell. We were just happy to be, I guess, what they call Web 2.0 then. Like to say there was a metaverse in '05, I would have called you like Satan or something. Like,
hey, listen, I heard you talking about me when we were on the other podcast and we were having the tech difficulties. He called me an old head like you. There weren't even cell phone cameras when I was in college, and thank goodness there wasn't, because I mean the world has progressed so much since we were in college. But you're exactly right. If you had a moment that captured, like I have those moments right in my career too, where like I wish I had an NFT of it, because it's some of my proudest moments. Like I would love to give those to my kids so that they've got a permanent, identifier of my career, right? All my kids, I got 4 kids. They've never seen me play. They have no idea what I went through and what I did and how fun it was and the camaraderie that I've got. And, being able to do something like an NFT that can be passed generation to generation is a much better way to do it than like having a baseball card or a football card or,
Imagine NCAA, the video game.
Oh, it's insane.
Able to have gotten, instead of the $5,000 that I think I got 5,000 with my buyout.
Yeah.
They just gave me an NFT and you could keep buying the game over and over again, especially with retro. Like my son has this game on he doesn't have a phone, but he has an old phone that we allow him to use Wi-Fi to play games.
Yeah, me too.
And he was like, Dad, I'm playing this football game. I'm like, what are you doing? Let me see this. And it's called retro football. And I'm like, man, that's Tecmo Bowl. That's all that is Tecmo Bowl. Like, he's like, what do you mean? I said, your dad played that when I was your age. Like, you got games now that look like you're playing, but it looks like you're watching a real game, and you're going back and playing pixelated, 8-bit video games. Like, this doesn't make any sense, but it's funny, man.
It's the cycle of life. Yeah.
Like, especially but then again, my mom used to say when I first got into high school, a lot of stuff went back. Like, people were infatuated with the 70s and some of the dress then. I think actually so much so that they made that 70s show. Like a lot of things go backwards, and that's what's cool. And then you kind of shift back to what's current. But like this gives you an opportunity, like you were saying, like with the Eric crowd, like guys who won't be future NFL stars, but were damn good college players.
Bingo.
Gives the college athlete still gives them access to the player. I think that's cool, man. This is
or guys
more excited about it.
Or guys like that get hurt, it's like, you don't know when your career is going to end. You have no idea. It could come tomorrow. And if you have that, it's like having, it's like having a retirement plan in college, which is awesome. I mean, I think and then what's really neat is like, let's just say that a team wins a national championship, right? Then you do a team NFT and you divvy up the pot. Like, and the universities will probably want to get their hand in that pot, but you don't have to have them. Like the players could all get together, off campus and take a group photograph and call it the National Champions 2010, whatever. And then that is immortalized. And you can, on our platform, we can divvy up royalties to as many parties as you want. So 20 guys could get together and say, let's create an NFT and let's split it all equally. So everybody's got 5%. Well, we can put that in the contract to where once that NFT is minted, those transactions happen at the cash register and they're incremental. So it means that like you're not waiting on a check for somebody. If one person buys tonight, you get one royalty check. If two people buy tomorrow, you get two, and you get it the second it happens. You're not waiting for anybody else to give it to you. And so it's just, like you said, it's the new age. It's Web3. And that's why you want it in Bitcoin, because it settles instantly, settles and payment in the same, movement.
And this was a dope interview, man. I'm excited about putting this one out. I know every single year at the end of the year, people talk about their New Year transformations, their New Year resolutions, and everything. This interview for everybody that's trying to take their life to the next level and is trying to understand this new world we're venturing off into, send this out to a friend, share it with a family member, because I promise it's going to change lives. And everybody that's been asking me to kind of get an understanding of this thing, just take the time out of your day, sit down and listen to this, because it's definitely going to help.
All right, man. Appreciate you coming on, spending some time with us, guys. Shoot, right now, I'm gonna tell you right now. Look forward in 2022 to this Inside Drill Sports Day NFT coming soon. You ain't gonna get me without an NFT. If this is what it's all about.
Well, let me tell you, if you want to dive head first into the deep end, we'll all be down at a Bitcoin conference, April the 5th. It's the 6th through the 9th, but I'll be there the 5th. And it's in Miami. There'll be 50,000 Bitcoiners there, and there'll be more opportunity to learn and listen and meet celebrities and athletes that are already really deep into the space. It'll be a really fantastic time. So if you want to check that out, go to just Google BTC or Bitcoin Conference 2022, and you can buy tickets and meet us down there. It'll be a fun time.
Oh man, appreciate that.
Absolutely.
All right, you got anything else, Freddie?
Oh man, I'm gonna go back and watch this. I got to listen to it. Yeah. Time out to just sit and watch everything and write some notes down.
Well, thank you guys for having me. It was a lot of fun.
Definitely appreciate you coming and giving us this game, man. Again, ain't no other sports pods giving it to you like this. Yep. Like Freddie said, please check it out. We're gonna cut this up a little bit. Keep putting the content out there. Again, one of the coolest things about what we've all got a chance to live in is that the jobs that are around right now 20 years ago didn't even exist, or you couldn't even fathom it. So the way to make generational wealth and the way to make money, the way to capitalize off of what you're doing today is to be innovative in every aspect. And also sometimes it's about being about the throwbacks, because I'm going to put this out here. I don't know if you've noticed this, Freddie, but every team that's really, really good, you know what they have on their team in the NFL?
Fullback, right?
Goddamn fullback. So like again, so sometimes you gotta go back. Sometimes you gotta go back to go forward. So people keep saying it's extinct. It's not extinct.
Fullback, you're the guard of the backfield. What are you talking about? Me and you, we're brothers. We get no recognition, exactly. And we do all the work. We're smashing heads right there deep in the trenches.
None of it. I just tell people all the time. It's not me. It's just. I'm sure there's some science behind it, but all I know is the teams that are good, they all have at least one fullback. So if you want to win, you got to figure out how to get the damn ball to the fullback. So we're gonna end on that note, man. Again, check us out at Inside Drills on Twitter, at SportsDen_live on Twitter, to YouTube. Please share this. If you have questions, make sure you follow us. Come check out the Bitcoin conference, which I'm about to go and register, because I want to get some more info on that. But it's a lot of topics that were covered in here, especially the guys who are catching it at the end. We talked about, and it's not just for cryptos. It's about investing in general. You talked about leveraging and not being over leveraged in the position. And it's not just crypto that's tanking. It's the normal traditional stocks. Everything is tanking. But what's not, and what you have 100% control over, is who you are, the content that you can put out. And right now, what it's looking like is NFTs are the way to make sure that you can get paid off of the access that people have to you. And that's a game changer when it comes to athletes who control their brand. So we appreciate you guys. Thanks for everybody listening. And we'll see you guys whenever we put up another inside drill, which should be soon. I think we're going to try to do something FSU specific, but stay tuned for all the different things that we have coming out here in 2022. Thank y'all.